If Reddit had existed thousands of years ago, these are the posts you'd find buried in the sand. Welcome to our Tranche Old World Tales, Confessions from the Ancient World. Story 1. I stole bread from the sun god. Subreddit, Arta Temple Confessions. I worked as a scribe in the Temple of Ra. My job was simple. Count the offerings. Write them down. Don't ask questions. Bread, honey, dates, beer. Every sunrise. The god ate before anyone else in the city did. That was normal. What wasn't normal was this. The river died. The Nile didn't rise that season. Crops failed. Cattle ribs started to show. Kids were chewing mud just to trick their stomachs. I watched a mother rinse dust with spit and call it soup. Meanwhile, inside the temple, golden bowls, fresh loaves, enough grain to feed a street. So here's where I messed up or saved lives. I still don't know. One night, before dawn, prayers, I went into the inner room alone. The air was heavy, like hot stone. Ra's face was there, hammered in gold, eyes staring like he knew every lie I'd ever told. I took one loaf, just one. I left an old cracked one in its place, just so the tray didn't look empty. That's it. That was my crime. One loaf of temple bread. I walked it through the dark and dropped it at the door of a woman everyone calls Widow Senet. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. Her little boy had stopped crying from hunger. And you know what it means when a child stops crying. That morning, the sun rose brighter. I'm not joking. The whole sky went orange, like fire on polished copper. The kids who ate smiled. They had crumbs on their lips instead of dirt. So of course I thought, okay, the God understands. The God is fine with this. Maybe mercy is allowed. That was day 1. Day 2 is when I realized I was wrong. It started during evening light. Every oil lamp in the main hall blew out at the exact same breath, like someone sucked the air out of the room. Then something else happened. The statue of Ra. The gold face? It began to drip. Gold should not drip, but I watched it with my own eyes. Thick, molten tears sliding down his cheeks. Drop, drop, drop. Hissing on the stone floor. The high priest panicked. The guards panicked. Everyone shouted, "Sign, sign, sign." Like that helps anybody. Me, I didn't panic. I felt watched. Day 3. It escalated. Remember the hard bread I left on the altar to replace what I took? When I checked it, it wasn't hard anymore. It was soft, warm, fresh, and bleeding. There was red soaking into the plate. Not wine, blood. One of the temple guards touched it and collapsed like someone punched all the air out of his chest. He fell to his knees, coughing dry sand instead of spit. His eyes rolled back pale. They carried him out. He didn't come back. That night, the priest said, "We are under curse." But listen to me. That wasn't a curse. That was a message. I didn't sleep. On day 4, I tried to fix it. I took the last loaf I still had, the one I'd hidden in my robe for the next hungry house, and I went down to the river to give it back. Except the river wasn't there anymore. Where the Nile should have been, there was this open crack, not just dry ground, a split, a wound, almost. You could feel heat coming out of it like breath from a huge animal. That's when I heard the voice. Not in my ears, in my head, in my bones. It didn't call me by my real name. It called me by the fake one I sign, on the grain reports when I cheat the numbers so no one can trace it back to me. Nobody knows that name. So tell me this. If the God didn't see me, how did he say my secret name? The voice said, "Why do you think I eat bread?" Couldn't answer. The voice said, "Keep feeding them, but don't lie about who you're feeding." I felt sick because I knew exactly what that meant. It wasn't, "Don't steal from me." It was worse. It meant, feed them, but write it down, make it public, expose us all. Day 5, the high priest came to my desk personally. He never talks to me. I'm nobody. I'm the guy who writes numbers. He leaned in close and whispered, "The pharaoh has ordered that. Due to the drought, the temple is now generously distributing food to the poor. You will update the records." Then he looked me dead in the face and said, "I want the numbers to look merciful. You understand? Not to be merciful, to look merciful." He wanted me to write down that 100 baskets of bread had been given to the people. Truth? We gave 12, and half of that bread was dirt mixed with flour to trick starving mouths. Now everyone in town is praising the pharaoh for saving them, praising the high priest for compassion, praising the god for sending abundance. They're thanking the people who kept the doors locked. And me? What do I get? The god knows my fake name. I can't sleep anymore. I can feel sunrise before it happens, like heat on the inside of my skull when Ra comes up. It's not light, it's pressure. Sometimes people ask me now, did you steal from the god? No, I did worse. I wrote his lie for him, and now every time the sun rises, I don't know if I'm witnessing a miracle or evidence, because if a god needs PR, we are all already dead. Story 2. They said I had to kneel. Subreddit. R. Old World Tales. I'm going to say this first so nobody else can rewrite it. After I disappear, I did not betray the pharaoh. I just didn't kneel fast enough. I serve in the guard of the temple of Ptah, not army, not palace guard, temple guard. We swear directly in front of the living pharaoh, forehead to stone, right hand raised. Your breath is my breath, your life is my life. All that. I swore to Pharaoh Nebmot. Nebmot died 11 days ago, and now his son sits on the throne. Everyone calls the new one Horus in flesh, Eternal Son, all the usual titles. But let's talk like adults for a second. That boy is not the true heir. He's the son of a side woman from the fourth harem. Everybody knows it. Nobody says it. You say it out loud. You go swim with crocodiles you didn't ask to meet. Yesterday, we had to give our new loyalty oath in public. Picture this. All of us in rows, knees in the dust, heads down, arms stretched forward, one human carpet of obedience. Except me, I stayed standing, quiet, hands crossed over my chest. Eyes forward, no yelling, no drama, just standing. You don't understand the silence. That hit after that. It wasn't, what is he doing? It was, did he just declare war? After the ceremony, 2 captains dragged me into a grain room and shut the door. Are you trying to die today? One of them asked. I said, my oath was to Nebmot. His heart hasn't even been weighed by Osiris yet. I can't swear to a second son while the first son is still in judgment. They called that theological insolence. Cute. Then they dropped the holy talk and went straight American mafia on me. Listen, if you don't kneel, you're officially, spiritually disloyal to the living Horus. That means your mother loses her grain rations, your sister loses her loom license. No loom, no work, no bread. You want to watch them starve because you like speeches? That's when I understood something gross. This was never about worship. This was payroll with better branding. So I asked them, if I kneel today and they poison this one tomorrow, do I kneel again for the next eternal ruler? How many eternals do you expect me to bow to in one lifetime? Silence. Not, we don't know. More like, you're not supposed to say that out loud. They told me and I had until sundown to fix it. Touch your head to the floor, speak the loyalty line, and we'll forget the disrespect. If not, accident in the Nile, body never found. I walked home thinking about it. My mother was waiting at the door with her shawl up around her shoulders, the way she does when she's scared but pretending she's cold. She pressed her forehead against mine and whispered, alive on your knees. Is still alive. A proud dead man is just a story other people get to tell. And here's the part I hate. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. But I still couldn't do it, because kneeling wasn't just kneel. It was say out loud that this boy is divine. It was rewrite reality in public. It was help us gaslight the entire kingdom so the transition looks clean. They didn't need my body on the ground. They needed my voice saying a lie. That's when it hit me. This isn't loyalty, it's forced narrative control. So yeah, I didn't kneel. That night, the palace guards showed up at my door. Important detail. Palace guards never look you in the eyes when they're there to talk. They only avoid your eyes when they're there to take, by order of the living Horus. They said, you're coming with us for clarification. Clarification, that's a fun word. My wife was behind me. I could hear her trying not to cry. My daughter was watching, wide-eyed. She's only 6 floods old. I didn't want her last memory of me to be me begging. So I stood tall, and I said, loud enough for the whole street, I didn't deny the throne. I denied the timing. The old son hasn't even finished being judged. I don't give my heart to 2 sons. They didn't like that, but I wasn't talking to them. I was talking to my kid, because tomorrow morning, the official story will be, I ran away, I deserted, I turned traitor. You'll hear I fled with thieves. No, if you're hearing this, understand. I was taken. Here's the part you really need to remember. They don't actually care about loyalty. They care about evidence of loyalty. They need people like me to say, yes, this is legitimate. So everyone watching goes, Oh, okay, guess we're fine then. That's what they were trying to buy with my knees. And I wouldn't sell, so if this is my last record, let it be simple. I didn't betray the Pharaoh. I just refused to kneel on command, so his PR team looked good. If that's treason now, then the crime isn't mine. It's theirs. Loop that in your head when they tell you the official version. Story 3. I was told to fake a miracle. Subreddit, our temple confessions. I'm not proud of what I did, but I'm also not sure I regret it. I'm a low monk. That means I clean floors, trim candles, and copy prayers. I'm not holy enough to say out loud, nobody knows my name outside these walls. That used to be fine. Then the sickness came. It started with one villager, then 4, then 12, black swellings under the arms, rotten smell coming from the blood. People dying in 2 days, sometimes less. We did what we always do, lock the gates. For safety. Translation, save the priests. Let the poor rot outside. People started begging at the doors, pleading, screaming. You don't forget that sound. It's not crying. It's like something trying to climb out of a human throat with broken nails. On the 4th night, a woman slammed her forehead against the gate until she split her skin just to get our attention. She was holding her daughter. Her daughter wasn't moving. Please, she whispered, if your God is real, prove it now. And here's the horror part. The high priest looked at me, not at the child, at me. He pulled me aside and said, very calmly, like we were discussing garden work, we need a miracle. I said, we don't have one. He said, we do now. He took me down into the storage chamber and showed me a jar, dark brown, sealed in wax, stamped with the royal mark. Pharaoh's personal healer sent this, he whispered, paste of myrrh, honey, and ground poppy. It reduces swelling. It kills pain. It won't cure her, but it will make her wake up for a while and speak. We will present this as divine intervention. I stared at him. You want me to stage a miracle? You will anoint the girl in front of everyone, he said. She'll open her eyes. They'll scream and fall to their knees. We'll announce that the God has blessed our temple. The Pharaoh will hear that our God heals. The Pharaoh will protect us. Do you understand? And that's when I realized something disgusting. Suffering is currency, and we were about to spend that little girl like money, I told him. This is wrong, he answered. So is starvation. Then he handed me the jar. We opened the gate just enough to let the girl's body in. The mother wasn't allowed to follow. She pounded and screamed while we carried the girl to the main hall and laid her below the statue. Everybody in the temple was watching. Guards, priests, servants, not praying, watching. I dipped my fingers in the paste. Her skin was cold. Please wake up, I whispered. That wasn't for the crowd. That was for me, because up close, I saw she was still alive. Barely. I rubbed the paste under her jaw, on her gums. The stuff was strong. I could smell the poppy in it, sweet and heavy. 30 seconds later, her eyelids fluttered. Her chest twitched. Her lips moved. The crowd gasped like they'd just watched the sun rise indoors. Hands flew to mouths. Some dropped to their knees so fast I heard bone hit stone. The high priest shouted loud and dramatic, "Behold, a miracle!" People sobbed. They started chanting the name of the god like a stadium crowd. I've never heard faith sound like hunger before. It was ugly, and for about 1 minute, maybe 2, the girl was awake. Her eyes were glossy and drifting, like she wasn't fully here, but she looked up at me, not at the statue, at me, and she said something I will never forget. She whispered, "Water." That was it. Not "thank you." Not "the God saved me." Water. And I couldn't give it to her because the show wasn't over yet. The high priest grabbed my wrist and hissed, "Don't move. Let them witness." So I just sat there on my knees, frozen, while this child, this actual little human, was used as proof that our God had chosen this temple. After 2 minutes, her breath slipped, her head sagged. She was gone. The high priest turned to the crowd and said, with tears in his voice, like he'd practiced it for a week, "The God has accepted her into the eternal light." The room shook with praise. I wanted to vomit. That night, we wrapped her in clean linen, better cloth than most living people in her village will ever touch, and laid her near the altar. We told everyone outside, "She is healed. She walks in glory now." Her mother screamed until her voice broke. Here's the part I need you to sit with. After that miracle, food started arriving at the temple gates. Grain, beer, oil, protection orders from palace guards. We were instantly important. Untouchable. All it cost was one little girl's last 2 minutes of consciousness. So yeah, we faked a miracle, but here's the part that keeps me awake. I don't think the gods were angry. I think the gods were watching, because around midnight, after everyone went to sleep, I went back to the linen room to sit with her body. Somebody had already put a small clay cup next to her. The cup was full of water, not temple water, river water, which should be impossible because the wells are almost dry right now. And the cup was warm, like someone had just held it in their hands and said, "Here, drink." I don't know what scares me more, that we lied, or that something real showed up anyway. And if something real is now responding to staged miracles, we are in danger we don't even understand yet, because if power learns, it can summon the divine on command. That's the moment regular people stop being people and start being props.